Welcome everyone to Discover This. Well, today we're in Twin Falls, Idaho, and we just happened to stop at the place where Evel Knievel wanted to jump the Snake River. So let's go check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Many of you may know that in 1974, Evel Knievel made plans to jump the Snake River in Idaho. Now, he had been talking about doing it for a while, but in September 1974, that became the target date. So with that decided, he set about getting everything ready. He scouted his location along the Snake River in Twin Falls, Idaho, and he needed to get a permit from the state of Idaho. And to get that permit, he had to declare his sky cycle an airplane, not a motorcycle. He also needed to get the ramp designed, which ended up being a 108-foot steel ramp. So this is the ramp that was built to get his rocket launched over the Snake River to the other side. Now this is open to the public till 10 o'clock each night, I think. And you can come up here and you can hike up this ramp and check out the view. And I'll put a map on at the end that shows you exactly where this is. You can see the foundations here for the to support the ramp that his rocket went on. And the final support right up here. So here it is. That's where he was going. Way over there. Snake River's down below. Snake River Canyon. And this is north towards Twin Falls proper. That's the bridge you cross coming into town off Interstate 84 if you're coming that way. But this is what it looks like. So you can see that road off in the distance. Road was probably built for this event. He needed the sky cycle built. He needed infrastructure at the launch site. They would be selling tickets to the event, so they needed porta potties and other necessities. He hired an aeronautical engineer to design his sky cycle. It was a rocket-powered cycle that was powered by steam engine. On April 15th, 1974, the SkyCycle X1, which you can see had motorcycle wheels, was test launched to gauge the feasibility of the launch ramp. The SkyCycle X1 went into the river. After a design modification, there were two SkyCycle X2s built, one for testing and one for the event itself. The test vehicle went into the river. So just a different angle from these foundations for the ramp. So you can see how high this berm is they built, and you can kind of see the foundations up there. ABC Wild World of Sports was unwilling to pay what Evel wanted for the jump. So Evel hired a boxing promoter to put the event on closed-circuit TV and broadcast it to movie theaters. Investors lined up, including Vince McMahon and his Worldwide Wrestling Federation. He also hired Invest West Sports to secure financing and do the promotion work. Launch day was September 8, 1974. Tickets were sold and approximately 30,000 people showed up. T-shirts were being sold along with other items. And as the event launch time grew closer, Evel flew over the crowd in his Learjet, the pilot dipping the wing to acknowledge the crowd. After Evel landed at the local airfield, he was motored to the site. The Freedom crane hoisted Evel Knievel into the sky cycle and he was strapped in. In this photo of him sitting on the launch pad, you can see his lucky rabbit's foot. At 3:26 p.m., he was launched with a trail of steam following. Then came the problem. The launch had ripped off the lid to the container housing the main parachute. So with the wind blowing into the container, the parachute came loose and opened up. Now, Evel had actually made it to the north shoreline across the river from where he launched, but the winds blew him back to the south side, on the side he launched from. He landed on the shoreline just a few feet from the river. If he had landed in the river, he more than likely would have drowned, because his harness had also failed and he was unable to release himself. Good thing he had that lucky rabbit's foot. So he survived to do other jumps on other days. So now we're at ground level. There's a nice walking trail that follows the Snake River for a few miles. You can walk or bike, but this is below the ramp, so he would have been flying off the top there. And again, going to that side there. There is an information board here, all about the story, the jump, what happened. Now, the guy who brought out the 200 porta potties ended up suing Evel Knievel for lack of payment. See, Evel only paid $19,000 of the $25,000 owed. So again, that's the road you come in on. And there's a parking area over here. And then can hike right up to the top of the ramp, and then the information board is just continuing down this trail till you get to the river walk. But yeah, Twin Falls, Idaho. And then there's one Evel Knievel fan, probably has his Evel Knievel tighty whities on. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this story about the Evel Knievel jump over the Snake River that didn't really go the way he wanted it to. But a lot of build up to that day, a lot of support coming into it, and that day a lot of cameras clicking, a lot of film going, and then at the end of the day a parachute dropped to the bottom ridge of the canyon. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you taking the time. If you're ever in the Twin Falls, Idaho area, You can come on out to this place and check it out for yourself. It's kind of a cool little thing, especially if you're an Evel Knievel fan. So we'll see you on the next Discover This. So you want another piece of Evel Knievel trivia? How about this? So over the years, Evel Knievel had a number of different tour buses that he would use to get him to and from events and to and from appearances all around the U.S. Well, when he wasn't using those buses, he would lease them out to various people to do their tours in. So in 1978, he leased his bus to a group of English musicians who were coming over to America for their first tour of the United States. That group was the Sex Pistols. Well, the bus promptly got graffitied and ended up being trashed by the time the group ended their tour and broke up in San Francisco, California. Another piece of trivia, Evel Knievel had Learjets, and he actually opened up his own charter jet business and leased his Learjets to various people over the course of time also. How about that for some useless trivia? Brought to you by Discover This.